Hey, welcome to another episode of Dave's Imaginations. Today we're going to recap our game from Thursday, June 22nd. Dave's Imaginations presents Dark Queen Ascension, The Fate of Fortitude, and titled by one of our players, Deliver Dag or Death. We'll go through what happened right after this. Stay with me. So, Fortitude. In the Dark Queen Ascension, Symmetrix, wizard, has come to town looking for the Tome of Dragons. She is convinced it's there, but has been here for over a year and still has not found it. She's offered rewards, trying to coax the people of the town to deliver the tome to her, give her information that would lead to the recovery of the tome, but no one has come forward. Now, as the time draws near for the ritual that would bring back Tiamat, Symmetrix is feeling the pressure to deliver, frustrated. She goes to the General Gundelsmirch of the Green Tide, Grumsh's Green Tide. She explains her scenario, and he, Gundelsmirch, volunteers or provides to her the use of a purple worm that he can contract to send to Fortitude, and Symmetrix agrees. So Purple Worm is going to be in Foundry within a 10-day, and Symmetrix posts on papers around town saying, leave town or suffer the consequences. Some leave town, others stay, and the ones that do stay, she takes off to concentration camps, splits up families, half go to one camp, half to another camp, just to keep them separated and in unknown, so no one tries to escape. And here we are. Those banners, those posters put up through town, and our Force Fortitude forever! Force Fortitude learns of this and sends for help to the Harpers in Waterdeep. The Harpers put out a plea to their society, and two answer the call: a peace cleric, a turtle peace cleric, Ugwe, and a beast master, Darcel. They answer the call, and they travel to Fortitude, and they join with the Force Fortitude in their hiding spot in the Winterstone Temple, and they come up with a plan to abduct the local orc general, hoping to learn more information about this ensuing purple worm attack. Symmetrix hopes to level the town, promises to level the town until she gets possession of this Tome of Dragons. So our Force Fortitude goes into the orc camp, creates a distraction, and as the rest of them go in, and they end up turning this Grog, local orc general, into a turtle, and they take him back to Winterstone Temple, where Zurok and Lorne interrogate him. And in this interrogation, they ask him about this turtle attack, and he doesn't want to delve this information, but with the mind reading that was going on, the mind reading spell was cast, and the Zone of Truth was cast, and so he would have images pop into his head, image of a bullet, an image of a dark-skinned elf. When asked how do they guide this purple worm around, he envisions their heads exploding. Finally, they ask about a visitor they became aware of in the orc camp. And they ask him, who was this visitor, this guest that they were attending to? And he gives a vision of Dag. Dag, the halfling, the NPC, the one I like to play, the when I'm not playing, but he's an NPC, and the beloved Dag, the thief that gets under their nerves, but he's a beloved character. The beloved Dag is laying in the tent, peaceful. He's never peaceful. He's laying in the tent, peaceful, with a gem on his head. But this is curious because Dag just went out with Darcel to do something with the horses, get them, move the horses away from their hidden hideout. Their hideout. And so he can't be at the camp and also here at the same time. What is up with Dag? We don't know what's up with Dag. And through this, during this time, as they had taken the war general, a search party was sent from the orc camp to find the orc general, and they tracked him back to the general area of the Winterstone Temple. They didn't find it quite yet, but they did get to a place where the horses had settled before they move on, and they left a orc guard there. And this band of orcs, troop of orcs, along with a captain orc and a wizard, Winifred, a transmuter wizard. And they have it in battle, and as they are having the battle, as Darcel is having a battle, Dag ran off. He's an NPC. He's not supposed to fight. As Darcel is having a battle with these orcs and this captain and this wizard, Winifred, the transmuter wizard, Darcel's about to go down, and right about then is when Katota, who had been leading a distraction, leading the orcs off on a wild goose chase, finally returns back to camp, but as an elf. But Katota comes to the rescue of Darcel and ultimately puts down the wizard, and all the orcs are gone except for the captain. The captain hides from Katota, who can't find them, and Darcel, and they give up the look for the orc captain, and they eventually go down into Winterstone Temple. In the Winterstone Temple, when they get there, eventually with the use of the General Dun and deliberations, as our peace cleric and Lorne, our lawful good paladin, are hesitant to just outright kill the helpless, tied up, weakened, defenseless orc general, evil as he might be. As they deliberate this, Katota goes up and slits his throat, puts him to an end. Now, while all that's happening, after hiding for 10 or so minutes, that orc captain comes out of hiding and picks up the body of Winifred and goes into town. Now, the Winterstone Temple is only a couple miles outside of Fortitude. Picks up the body and takes her into Fortitude, where he meets up with the other wizards. Lets them know what has happened. Lets them know where this was, and that Winifred had detected magical presence somewhere under the ground, and where that was. But now, back at Winterstone Temple, the group has become weary of Dag, not sure, and they say, "Okay, Dag, we're gonna go to the Cragmaw Castle, which is like a day's travel away." And while they do that, they ask Dag to keep a watch over the Winterstone Temple, to make sure it's not discovered, to see if it's discovered, which he does. He watches. Dag watches. But instead of going to Cragmaw Castle, the Fortitude takes a long way around and goes back to the orc camp. They go back to the orc camp, and they set up a post where they watch the camp from afar. And it's in the evening of, this would have been day 7. 7 days left until Wormageddon, the worm attack, the Wormageddon. And so they're watching this camp that has they see an entourage has come in, and they know that Symmetrix is in. Most of Symmetrix and her red wizards and cultists and most of the orcs, although the orcs have other bases surrounding Fortitude. All of them are there as our heroes watch the orc camp. They see at some point during the evening that a couple of the wizards, a troop of the orcs, and some of the cultists, they head back on the road toward Fortitude. Evening comes, sun falls, and our force decides to have familiars watch the camp, and they put up their tiny hut and they go in for the evening. About halfway through the evening, the familiar comes back in warning, and as a large force, I think it was 4 wizards and 4 troops of orcs, as well as a couple of the warg riders, they head not toward Fortitude, but in the general direction of the Winter Sun Temple. This was like 2 a.m. The First Fortitude decides not to go into the camp during the nighttime as these guys come up. They do send a familiar to follow them and instruct that familiar to, as when they are done doing it, as they're about to return, to come back to them. So as our First Fortitude finishes their long rest, the next morning, the familiar does come back as the force that went out there found the Winterstone Temple, dug it up, invaded, turned it over, looking for their general, looking for the Tome of Dragons, looking for Force Fortitude that was not there. They do find Grog dead in an icy pool of water, and they retrieve his body. And they begin their return to their camp, and that is when the familiar returns ahead of them, some amount of time ahead of them. And we did the math to figure out exactly when they would get there, and when they would get there about sunrise. We did a fate check, our favorite mythic game engine, right? Mythic fate generation. We checked and we said, will the orc force return as the sun rises, or will there be a little bit of time? And the fate would have it there would be a little bit of time, and so our Force Fortitude decides now is the time. Now is the time to go see what this Dag Prime, as some called it. What is Dag Prime? What is he doing in this tent? But they know in that tent is at least Symmetrix. And so at the break of dawn, they get up, they get their gear on, they go in and they go around, they set themselves up. To invade this tent. 4 of them in front with Katota and Mr. Fuzzy Boots, their tiger, in the back. Katota does a scrying into the tent, and he sees Symmetrix standing and pouring herself a cup of tea. Laying in bed is Winifred, the wizard they thought dead. Another red wizard, male red wizard, on another cot. On the third cot there's Dag laying there, peaceful. He's never peaceful. Laying there peaceful with a red gem on his head. What is going on? As they survey this, as Katota is visioning inside this tent, Symmetrix, this powerful wizard, I rolled to see, would she be aware? Would she sense this scrying? I rolled, and as fate would have it, she does. And she looks up, and she dispels that magic. And as she dispels that magic, Kuta's like, oh crap, and lets the rest of his... And they have this mental connection going on where they can talk to each other through their mind. And he says, hey, it's go time. Go, 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 go. And so Darcel rushes the tent and prepares some vine attack, and a dagger attack if someone pops up. But then Lorne goes to the front flap of the tent in his full plate armor. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Hey, he's got a +2 in stealth. Yeah, well, it's a disadvantage too. So he goes up there, and Symmetrix hears that, peeks outside, and sees Lorne. Oh crap! Skying just happened. We now have a full paladin in full plate armor coming in for the attack, and she says, "Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh crap!" Goes back into the tent, does her oogly boogly, and time stops. Time stops, giving her the chance to cast a couple spells of her own. First, we roll to see how many turns sadly, she only got 2. The players were pretty happy about that. I was pretty sad. She got 2 turns. She got a turn, and she cast Conjure Elemental. I said Major Elemental. There's no Major Elemental spell. It was Conjure Elemental. It was a good one. It was Earth Elemental is conjured, and the Earth Elemental crawls. No, time has stopped. Time has stopped. She conjures the Earth Elemental. It can't do anything. Time has stopped. Then she also casts Teleport, and the 4 of them, bamf, go away. Dag, Symmetrix, and the 2 other red wizards, bamf, gone. As Banff gone, time resumes, and in the turn order, it was turn. In the initiative count, it was the turn of the Earth Elemental. And he tries to attack Lorne, but misses with Lorne with his Shield of Faith and the mighty rugged armor, fends off the Earth Elemental. He breaks free. Uguay hits him with a force, pushing the Earth Elemental away and toward into the tent. Darcel rips with his knife a hole into that, looks in, and says, they're gone. And then, of course, Fortitude decides to make a run for it. Okay, yeah. Zerok had a little fun with the cultists as he casts a mass suggestion, suggests to them, hey, Symmetrix isn't a good person, and you should not take this and infighting. Basically, rise up against Symmetrix as Zerok plants this message into the mind of a bunch of the cultists and their administrator, Chancellor Adelaide or something like that. Yeah. And then Force Fortitude makes a run for it, and they chase for a while, but they got away somewhat clean because the wizards bamped away. The orcs. There was 2 orcs in a watchtower. They're the ones that would said, hey, they went that way. The cultists and Chancellor, their administrator, they're all befuddled with this mass suggestion. But eventually the orcs would return, not too much later, as you remember, they're returning from their raid on the Wishstone Temple. They would return not too much, and the search would begin anew for Force Fortitude. Force Fortitude wandering stealthily through the orc-infested outskirts of Fortitude. They find a hiding space and they contemplate their next move. They believe that Symmetrix most likely teleported into Fortitude, most likely teleported into the wizard's tower. So they buff up Katota. They hit him with a flying spell that lasts for 10 minutes, and Katota has the ability to turn invisible, greater invisible. And so Katota sneaks into town and gets as close as he dares, flying into town. And he turns himself invisible, and he does a fly over the wizard's tower. And he sees that the trap door into the lower level of Arundel's tower is open. It hadn't been open previous, and making them feel like the security of the Tome of Dragons was secure, but this would give them one level closer. Now, remember, the Tome of Dragons isn't in this one sublevel, this hidden sublevel. It's actually even below that, another secret level underneath that. And so, finally, Symmetrix is able to go down into this lower level, and certainly she'd be down there, right? Certainly. Our heroes hope so. And so with this information, Katota relays that back to the rest of the force, and they start to make their way into Fortitude, sneaking their way in on foot this time, as they sneak between buildings and into the woods and up the hill toward the tower. And as they're going through the woods in the relative cover of the woods, they get close to where the tower, and they can see 3-ish people standing in front of the tower. And as they approach, they trip a magical alarm. Ding, 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 ding. And they all say, oh crap, we didn't think of that. A simple alarm spell. Game on. A simple alarm spell. Game on. So, roll initiative. A couple of people go. Early in the initiative count was the wizards, though. And there was an attack. There were the wizard and 2 cultists that were out. The wizard survived. He throws a fireball out into the woods where these 5 were, but it was countered. But more wizards come out. 2 more wizards come out. They both hit fireballs. Bang, bang. Pretty painful. 2 fireballs over the 2 of them. Yeah, there was some healing. There was some countering. There were some good rolls, but they were hit by 2 fireballs. And then the rest of the turns were, and we had 1 round of combat, and that's where we ended our night, as Fortitude seems to be on the offensive. It's deliver dag, or death, and it just might be death. Tell me, guys, what do you think? Will it be death? Will you survive this? There seems to be a multitude of wizards, some lower levels, but when I say lower levels, I'm not saying first, second level. I'm saying 4th, 5th, 6th level. Compared to you guys, that's lower levels. But there are better wizards than that. We know that Winifred was a little bit better than that. We know Symmetrix is a whole heck of a lot better than that, but she's used at least 2 good spells. A 9th level time spot. How many of those could she possibly have? A teleport. That's a 7th level teleport spell. How many of those does she have? But there are other wizards around her. And now, after 1 round of combat, alarms are going off. It won't be too long until orcs swarm the area. Could this be the end of Fortitude? We'll have to find out. We'll find out next time. Now, the sad thing is, and the reason we do this massive, real long review is, it could be a few weeks before we get together. I think we were looking at June 20th. I'm taking a vacation the next couple of weeks, and then a week after that, one of our guys would be gone, and I'd hate to kill his character when he's not there. Yeah, if that would happen, right? So we'll have to see, will our heroes survive, or will they go down in a blaze of glory? We'll find that out. We're going to target July. Did I say June? July 20th. That's like 3 weeks away. 3 weeks? 4 weeks? 4 weeks away. So I'm sure you could watch this again. It'd probably be a while since the 22nd before you watch this, but I think that was a pretty good recap. And if you want to hear more details, my team, my players who are watching this, if you want more details of exactly what happens, it's in the Google Drive. And you know what? I'll put the link to that Google Drive. I'm going to put that in our Discord chat because everyone doesn't need to see that, right? It has the details of what happened, as we have a most awesome scribe. We keep forgetting, or he keeps forgetting, that I am more than happy to give him advantage on 1 roll a night. Inspiration, if you would. Inspiration on 1 roll a night because of the awesome job he does scribing. So, I hope you enjoy this. It's exciting. Will Fortitude survive? Will they be able to end Symmetrix? Will they be able to prevent the worm attack? We'll have to find out, and we'll be a step closer next time on Dave's Imagination Presents Dark Queen Ascension, the Fate of Fortitude. Until next time, take care. Bye.